Hi, today I will be showing you my project in Asian history, specifically culture and customs of the Hmong. Now, who are the Hmong? They are people who originally came from China and then emigrated to Southeast Asia and have since immigrated to other countries such as the United States. Now, I will be showing you the culture and customs on the Hmong here. First off, what is Hmong fashion? Basically, one of the biggest Hmong arts of fashion is the pantao, which is basically a technique of applique, which is the cloth being under another cloth with a pattern, and it is combined with some resist dyeing technique. One application is for tourists. It's the story cloth. The story cloth usually feature stories about the Hmong. Now, these two other things, the baskets and the hemp cloth, they are not as well known as the pantao and the story cloth. Now, the Hmong also have traditional games such as the popo and the tulu. The popo is usually played during the Hmong New Year, which is at the end of the harvest season, usually on November or December. The popo is played by boys and girls and usually is accompanied by the songs of Kirtab. I don't know how to pronounce that, but they are some kind of courtship song. I'll discuss that later. Now, the popo is used to communicate of romance between boys and girls, and is like an ordinary ball tossing game between like two sides. Now, the tulu is a stop flinging sport, and the teams, there are two teams, each trying to like throw the top and topple the opponent's tops. And there are some tulu arenas in the United States. Now, one of the Hmong rituals, which is usually done by shamans, is the hooplig, and it is a soul calling ritual. Now, the picture in here, it is just one of the tools used in the hooplig, where a shaman chants and does offerings to get someone's soul back into their body. Now, the music of the Hmong, the kulta, like I discussed earlier in the popo, is a romance song. That's why I picked this picture. Now, the key, or whatever it is pronounced like, is an instrument. It's the most popular Hmong instrument, and it's like a wind instrument. It is usually used during funerary rites. Now, the nikas, or whatever it is pronounced like, is a mouth harp that is played during the Hmong New Year, especially in the courtship songs. Now, there are also food of the Hmong. The larb, or whatever it is a meat salad that tastes sour. It is originally from Laos, although it has mixed into the Hmong culture as well. A dessert of the Hmong is the nava, which is with coconut and those tiny little pearls inside. It is sometimes consumed as a beverage. Then there's the tangko. it is a food that usually like has some kind of animal organ inside of it. The animal organs are like cubed up and then mixed with the actual meat, and then after being cooked is served to the people. Now, and the final of the foods is the cow poop, and it is basically the Hmong version of curry. Now, these are just a partial list of the cultures and customs of the Hmong culture, but these are the most well-known aspects.
I have some questions. What's the religion of the Hmongs?
They are usually combination of shamanist and animist. And shamanism is basically using of a shaman as a medium between the human world and the spirit world.
So, do they believe in medicine?
Not modern medicine, but alternative medicine.
Okay. How about surgery? Do they believe in surgery?
No,
Why not?
because they still rely on their traditional beliefs.
Because I've read that the monks they are particularly against surgery. It's not acceptable because they believe that opening the body allows the soul to escape, and soul loss is one of the monks' greatest health concerns.
That's why there is the hoopling in the first place, to put the soul back.
Diba? And how many souls do monks believe each person has?
Well, 12 parts.
12. Okay. That's very interesting, no?
Yes.
And do they believe in reincarnation?
Yes. That's why because I read that the people who become shamans are the ones who's reincarnated from shaman forms.
Okay. How about languages? What are the monks' basic languages?
The Hmong language is of course Hmong, although it is a usually oral language.
Because I've read about Hmong Dao, Hmong Nina, and Dananshan.
Those are like different types of Hmong.
Hmong language or Hmong people?
Hmong people and language.
And language as well.
Yes, that's why there are different types of Hmong clans.
Okay. And you've mentioned about food, right?
Yes.
What's the staple food of Hmongs?
Like other Asians, rice.
How about the type of dishes that they serve? Like for example, for Japanese, they usually serve something a little bit sweeter, right? And for Filipinos, it's the same thing. Sometimes it's sweet. How about Hmongs?
Based on the foods here, I think they like yung mga
Savory dishes.
Yes.
Do they like spicy as well?
Yes, that's because Hmong peppers are usually put in at meals.
Okay. Like that curry thing? Or that
Yes.
meat thing?
Yes.
Okay. What do monks call themselves? Do you know?
They sometimes call themselves meow.
Meow? Like,
No,
what?
it's M-I-A-O.
What does it mean?
It is basically what the Hmong in China call themselves.
Speaking of China, so are monks basically Chinese?
From Chinese descent, although they became distant over time.
Like, why?
It's because the Hmong's branch separated from the Chinese branch around thousands of years ago.
Because I've read somewhere that the Hmongs, they have a very long history. No? They were originally from China, but they left around the early 1800s due to what?
Due to like discrimination
A discrimination by?
by the Chinese.
I've read kasi because of land expansion being done by the Chinese government. Is that true?
It is also another of the factors. You see, the movement in diaspora of the Hmongs has multiple reasons.
Like
The two we just said above, discrimination and land expansion.
So, my final question, why did you choose the Hmong culture among the many cultures in Asia?
It was at first because it's because I like the name, and so their culture. So I thought their culture must be interesting, as interesting as the name.
Even if you haven't heard of the word Hmong before.
I have a few times, although not of the people.
Okay. So you pronounce it as Hmong, not Humong.
No, yes, they pronounce it as Hmong, not Hmong.
Okay. So, one last question. So, the Hmong language, is it easy to learn?
No,
Why not?
because the alphabet of the Hmong, it is in fact Latin alphabet, although the letters do not sound the same way that they sound in the other Latin-based alphabets.
Because when I research about the Hmong, I specifically remember that it's hard to pronounce the words.
Yes, that's why I mentioned, or whatever you pronounce it as.
Yeah.
So, Kiftab. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Does it sound like some sort of Vietnamese words somehow? Like it comes from the mouth, from the nose.
It comes from like the languages that surround it.
Like what?
Like the Chinese.
There's a lot of similarities.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Godric.
You're welcome.